Welcome. I'm Sebastian Mahfoud, and you're listening to WCAT Radio, the on-air wing of En Route Books and Media, bringing you the dulcet sounds of Catholic wisdom.
Good evening, my dear listeners. Welcome to the episode number 14 of our program, Discovering Sacred Christian Art. The episode of today, Tuesday, the 28th of February, is dedicated to early Christian art, Byzantine art in Ravenna, central Italy, the monuments. And today we will continue our dialogue left in the episode number 13, dedicated to the monuments of the Byzantine age in Ravenna. This is the second part, and the second and the last part of this exam, of this analysis, dedicated to the Byzantine art in the marvelous city of Ravenna. I strongly hope you will be able to visit this marvelous city. I suggest you, if you are in Italy, to start from Milan and to go to Venice and then to Ravenna, and from Ravenna you can go to Assisi and then Rome. Or if you want to start your travel from Rome, you can stay in Rome and then go to Assisi. From Assisi visit Ravenna and then Venice and finish with Milan. Of course, I am aware that for visiting Italy you will need a pair of months, but if you have at your disposal, some weeks, some days, a couple of weeks, I think that you will be able to visit in an easy way these 4 or 5 cities. So, for what concerns the monuments in the Byzantine Ravenna that we will analyze today, I will speak about the Basilica of Sant'Apollinare Nuovo, the new Sant'Apollinare. I will refer to the new Sant'Apollinare to make a distinction with the other basilica, that is the Basilica of Sant'Apollinare in Classe. Then, after the Basilica of Sant'Apollinare New and the Basilica Sant'Apollinare in Classe, I will speak about the Ravenna Arian Baptistry and the Ravenna Baptistry of Neon, with a brief short conclusion dedicated to the Byzantine history in Ravenna. Thanks to our Dr. Sebastian Mahfoud, we have images uploaded in the dedicated page of this radio program, Discovering Sacred Christian Art. If you go after the titles, after the recordings of our episodes, you can see the section dedicated to the photos, to the images. And you can follow me if you have in front of you your computer, your tablet, or your smartphone. If you are not able to see quickly that page, you can go to Google Images and visit the images according to the names I'm telling you. First, the Basilica of Sant'Apollinare Nuovo. Sant'Apollinare, the new Basilica of Sant'Apollinare. The new Basilica of Sant'Apollinare, the Basilica of Sant'Apollinare Nuovo, is a basilica church in Ravenna. It was erected by the Ostrogoth king Theodoric the Great as his palace chapel during the first quarter of the 6th century, as attested into the Liber Pontificalis. This was the Arian church. This was a typical example of Arian church because remember that in Ravenna first came the Ostrogoth period and then came the Byzantine period. This Arian church was originally dedicated in 504 Anno Domini to Christ, the Redeemer. It was reconsecrated in 561, so 60 years after, under the rule of the Byzantine Emperor Justinian I, the man that created Ravenna as the second Byzantium, as the Byzantine city. And the church was reconsecrated in that year, 561, under the new Latin name Sanctus Martinus in Cielo Aureo. That is from Latin, now I translate for you, Saint Martin in the Golden Heaven. Suppressing the Arian cult, the church was dedicated to Saint Martin of Tours because it was a foe of Arianism. According to the legend, Pope Gregory the Great ordered that the mosaics in the church be blackened, as their golden glory distracted worshippers from their prayers. So the basilica was renamed again in 856 when the relics of Saint Apollinaris, and this is the name of our saint to whom the basilica is dedicated, were transferred from the Basilica of Saint Apollinare in Classe, but we will analyze it after. Because of the threat posed by frequent raids of pirates from the Adriatic Sea, and as I recalled in the previous episodes, in the episode number 14, Saint Apollinare the New is inside the city of Ravenna. Saint Apollinare in Classe is outside Ravenna, close to the Adriatic Sea. The apse of the Church of Saint Apollinaris the New and the atrium underwent modernization at various times, beginning in the 6th century with the destruction of mosaics whose themes were too overtly Arian or which expressed the king's glory. But the mosaics of the lateral walls, 24 columns with simplified Corinthian capitals, and an embo are preserved. On some columns, images of arms and hands can be seen, which are part of figures once representing praying gods and King Theodoric's court, deleted in Byzantine times. Renovations and alterations were done to the mosaics in the mid-19th century by Philip Schivel. The present text is a reconstruction after being damaged during the First World War. On the upper band of the left lateral wall are 13 small mosaics depicting Jesus' miracles and parables. On the right wall are 13 mosaics depicting the Passion and the Resurrection. However, the flagellation and crucifixion are lacking. They describe the parts of the Bible that were read aloud in the church during the Lenten time, precisely during Lent under the rule of Theodoric the Great. On the left, Jesus is always depicted as a young, beardless man, dressed as a Roman emperor. On the right, Jesus is depicted with a beard. For the Arians, this emphasized that Jesus grew older and became a man of sorrows, as spoken of by the prophet Isaiah. This is my Italian pronunciation. These mosaics are separated by decorative mosaic panels depicting a shell-shaped image with a tapestry, cross, and two doves. These mosaics were executed by at least 2 artists. The next row of mosaics are a scheme of herald saints, prophets, and evangelists, and they are 16 on each side. The figures are executed in an Hellenistic Roman tradition and show a certain individuality of expression as compared to the other figures in the basilica. Each individual depicted holds a book in either scroll or codex format, and like many of the other figures through the basilica, each of their robes has a mark or a symbol in it. These mosaics alternate with windows. They were executed in the time of Theodoric the Great again. The entrance of the church is preceded by a marble portico built in the 16th century. Next to the church, on the right side of the portico, stands a round bell tower dating from the 9th to the 10th century. When the UNESCO inscribed the church on the World Heritage List, its experts pointed out that both the exterior and the interior of the Basilica of St. Apollinare New, graphically illustrate the fusion between the Western style and Eastern style, characteristic, of course, of the late 5th to the early 6th century. This is one of the most important buildings from the period of crucial cultural significance in European religious art. And now let's go to the Basilica of St. Apollinare in Classis. The Basilica of St. Apollinare in Classis is an important monument of Byzantine art near Ravenna, Italy. When the UNESCO inscribed the 8 Ravenna sites on the World Heritage List, it cited this Basilica, the Basilica of St. Apollinare in Classis, as an outstanding example of the early Christian basilica in its purity and simplicity of its design and use of space, and in the sumptuous nature of its decoration. This marvelous Basilica of St. Apollinare in Classis is called in Classis, since in classe means in Latin at the bay, close to the sea. The place in which the basilica is located was called in classe, and now it is a touristic place called Lido di Classe. The imposing brick structure was erected at the beginning of the 6th century by order of Bishop Ursicinus, using Julianus Argentarius. It was certainly located next to a Christian cemetery, and quite possibly on top of a pre-existing pagan one, as some of the ancient tombstones were reused in its construction. St. Apollinare in Classe was consecrated in 549, precisely on 9 of May, by the Bishop Maximian, and dedicated to the famous St. Apollinaris that was the first Bishop of Ravenna and also of this place named Classe. The Basilica is thus contemporary with the Basilica of San Vitale of Ravenna we spoke about in the episode number 13. In 856, the relics of St. Apollinaris were transferred from the Basilica of St. Apollinare in Classe to the Basilica of St. Apollinare New in Ravenna. The exterior of St. Apollinare in Classe has a large facade with 2 simple uprights and 1 mullion window with 3 openings. The narthex and building to the right of the entry are later additions, as is the fine 9th century round bell tower with mullioned windows. This church is on a nave and 2 aisles. An ancient altar in the mid of the nave covers the place of the saint's martyrdom. The church ends with a polygonal apse sided by 2 chapels with apses. The nave contains 24 columns of Greek marble. The carved capitals of the columns depict acanthus leaves. But unlike most such carvings, the leaves appear twisted as if being buffeted by the wind. The faded frescoes depict some of the archbishops of Ravenna and date to the 18th century. The lateral walls are bare, but were certainly one covered with gorgeous mosaics. These were likely demolished by the Venetians, unfortunately, at the end of the 15th century, precisely in the year 1449, although they left the mosaic decoration in the apse and on the triumphal arch, the church's most striking features. The upper section of the triumphal arch depicts, inside a medallion, Christ. At the sides, within a sea of clouds, are the winged symbols of the four evangelists: the eagle, John; the winged man, Matthew; the lion, Mark; the calf, Luke. The lower section has, as its two edges, the wolf showing precious germs, from which 12 lambs, symbols of the 12 apostles, exit. The sides of the arch show two palms, which in the Bible symbolism represent justice. Under them are the archangels Michael and Gabriel, with a bust of Saint Matthew and another identified saint. These are two busts. Well, we can say that important is the decoration of the apse, dated to the 6th century and can be divided in two parts, the upper one and the lower one. They are so important. The upper one, a large disc, encloses a starry sky in which is a cross with gems and the face of Christ. Over the cross is a hand protruding from the clouds, the dim of the hand of God. At the side of the disc are the figures of Leah and Moses. The three lamps in the lower section symbolize the saints Peter, James, and John, alluding the transfiguration of Jesus of Mount Tabor. In the lower one is a green valley with rocks, bush, plants, and birds. In the middle is the figure of Saint Apollinaris, portrayed in the act of praying God to give grace to his faithful, symbolized by 12 white lamps. We can say that the choice of the subject of the entire theme of the Basilica is closely linked to the fight against Arianism, as it restates the both divine and human nature of Christ, the former negated by the Arians. In addition, the representation of Apollinaris among the apostles was a legitimation to Maximian as the first bishop of a diocese of Ravenna, directly related to the early followers of Jesus, being, in fact, Apollinaris, according to the legend, pay attention, a disciple of Saint Peter. The basilica's walls are lined by numerous sarcophagi from different centuries. They attest the change of style from the 5th century to the 8th century, from reliefs with human figures of the Roman sarcophagi to Byzantine symbolism to the increasing abstraction and simplification of these great symbologies. We have also the Ravenna Arian baptistry and the Ravenna baptistry of Neon as a sample of the art of this period that started with the Ostrogothic Ravenna and became the Byzantine Ravenna. Well, I can say that walking around, if you walk around in the discovery of the monuments of Ravenna, we can see that here in the city of Ravenna, the characteristic of the Ostrogothic Ravenna met the Byzantine art, for which Ravenna became famous. Ostrogothic Ravenna refers to the time period in which Ravenna was the capital of the Ostrogothic kingdom in Italy. Ravenna is a city in the northeastern Italy that served as the capital of the Ostrogothic kingdom, which existed between 493 and 553. During that time, Ravenna saw a great renovation, in particular under Theodoric the Great. During his rule, Ravenna saw many of its finest monuments constructed or renovated, including the Basilica of St. Apollinare New, the Palace of Theodoric, and Mausoleum of Theodoric. Many of these monuments reflected Theodoric as well as the Goths as a people, religion of Arian Christianity. So an Arian Christian himself, but Theodoric's rule was a time of religious tolerance in the city of Ravenna. His religious tolerance extended also to forging a balance between the Romans and the Goths in Ravenna. Theodoric attempted to model Ravenna as a capital equivalent to that of Rome or to that of Constantinople, and as such was a defender of classical antiquity in a Western world that so much of its classical heritage disappearing. Ravenna's newfound ascendance did not last under the successors of Theodoric, as they lacked the respect that Theodoric commanded of both the Romans and the Goths. Within his capital and the empire as a whole, in particular his grandson Athalaric, who succeeded him at the age of 8 under the regency, of course, of his mother Amalasuntha. The Gothic kingdom eventually fell to the invasions by Belisarius as a part of Justinian's ambitious plans of reconquering the territories of the Western Empire lost to the Germanic invasions. Afterwards, the city of Ravenna formed the center of the Byzantine Exarchate of Ravenna until the invasion of the Lombards in 751, after which it became the seat of the kingdom of the Lombards. Although it is an inland city, Ravenna is connected to the Adriatic Sea by the Candiano Canal. It is known for its well-preserved late Roman and Byzantine architecture that we explored in these episodes. With these 8 buildings consisting the UNESCO World Heritage Site, entitled Early Christian Monuments of Ravenna. My dear listeners, I hope that you enjoyed this path at the discovery of the monuments in the Ostrogothic Byzantine city of Ravenna. I say hello to you now, and I hope you will enjoy also our next episode, the episode number 15. Meanwhile, I take the occasion to wish you a great beginning of the Lenten time that will start for all of us the next week, Wednesday, the 6th of March. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed the program and will join us back for another show on WCAT Radio. This is Sebastian Mahfood. Good day.